Podcast questions. Hi, AJ. So I was training like your instructions in corners and I am finishing my braking before the turn. Good. But I am finding myself continuing with engine braking until the apex of the turn. Is this okay? Or should I brake more and start accelerating from the beginning of the turn? Great question. So what he means is that he's trying to release the brakes right at the entrance, but he's continuing to kind of coast, let's say the first 30, 40, 50% of the turn, but he's in a gear that's creating a lot of engine brake. So it's almost making him feel like he needs to accelerate earlier. What I would say to that is he on a Yamaha? Check out this profile picture. Can't tell in the profile picture. Usually that happens with Yamahas because they have so much torque that if you go down to second gear, like on a Yamaha 250F, and you try to coast into a corner, it's gonna roar, it's gonna rev up, get the engine brake too much so, and kind of like pull you down into the turn and force you to feel like you have to accelerate too quickly and too early for what you're comfortable with in the corner. So find a correct gear. Sometimes engine brake is appropriate, sometimes you want a lot of it, but sometimes you really just want to free the bike up to have that roll speed in the first part of the corner. And a lot of that is dependent on gear selection. So maybe try a gear taller. I always recommend, especially for people trying to find a flow, that you don't, believe it or not, want to start your acceleration too early in the corner. You want to utilize a pretty big roll speed zone. And I demonstrate this at class by getting off the brakes at where I say you should, which is right at the beginning of the corner. Get off the brakes there and I'm able to coast the entire corner. And I do that by entering fast enough to then just maybe apply a little bit of front brake and ease on the front brake, modulating it through the corner, and I can coast the entire corner in almost every situation. Where the average rider or your brand new rider will come in so slow that if they were to try to coast, they would make it like 2 feet and then they would essentially just tip over. The reason that makes it difficult is because then you're trying to apply really gentle throttle and not disrupt the lean angle of the bike from the very beginning of the turn. It's just more difficult to do it that way. So hopefully that makes sense. I think proper gear selection is probably your solution. If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, you can do so on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to send in your own video submission, you can join us in the Moto Academy family inside of the Moto Academy app by just going to themotoacademy.com. That's also where you can sign up for a class. Okay, guys, see you next episode.